If you want low cost all day camera power, this, my friends, is it. This is the SmallRig VB99 SE Mini. Crazy long name, but crazy power. And here's the thing, this thing is super affordable. Now, if you're like me, you have probably been dragging around like batteries and batteries and batteries and batteries, and all of these are really, really expensive for the knockoff ones. They don't really last. SmallRig reached out and said, hey, want to review a V-mount battery. Now, a V-mount battery is something completely different. Look, there's the actual V-mount. See, it's exactly what it says. This is a very different battery that some of you may not be used to, but this is not just only for cameras. The power and what this does is insane. So let's dive in first off to the actual overview. And if you think, like I used to think before, that V-mount batteries are complicated to use, they're awkward, forget it. This thing is as easy as whatever easy things that you do are. It's even easier. First off, let's talk about the design of this battery. Then we're going to get into not only how this will power your camera all day, but what it can do for your laptop and your phone and lights and monitors and all the other stuff. Like this thing is, you know, it's like a hard plastic. We've got an OLED screen up the top here, which if you press the power button, will show you how much is left on it. But not only that, it shows you lots of other cool things, which it's just really cool to see. And I'll get into that in a minute. But the rest of the case here, it is not only kind of quite hard, it's not that heavy. It's not much bigger than an actual phone. In fact, if you look at it compared to the iPhone 15 Pro Max, it's not as tall, but obviously it's a lot wider because we have got 99 watt hours of power in this. But besides that, this thing is heat resistant. It is fire resistant, and it's also flame retardant as well. So this thing is pretty solid. Now, the rest of it here, if we zoom around, we have one kind of tab here that we can open. This is D-Tap. Those of you familiar with D-Tap will absolutely know what this will do. It's another power way. We have our power button that we spoke about on the side. We have our V-mount on the actual back. And if we turn it upside down, we've got our BP port. We've got a 1/4 inch thread. So you don't have to have a V-mount battery plate for this. This will screw onto anything with a 1/4 inch thread. You also have another one here on the actual V-mount if you want to put it on this way. Now, if we maneuver around, we've already seen the D-Tap, and if we go up to the top, this is where the real kind of secret sauce is. Once we get this little tab open, we have a number of ports. First off, we have USB-C in and out. Now, this USB-C in and out will not only power your camera or whatever other USB-C devices you have, but this is where you charge this little V-mount battery as well. This is fast charging, by the way. If you plug in a fast charger, this thing will charge up to 100% in around 2.5, 3 hours. And we're talking 99 watt hours. So there's serious bang for buck in this, and it will super fast charge. Now, as you should know, fast charging means you need an actual fast charger. So just make sure that you've got a fast charger, like a 65 watt or whatever, to power this up really, really quickly. Now, the other ports here, we've got a USB-A port, which is also fast charge. So if you want to charge this up, USB-C or USB-A. And then we have our 12 volt and our 8 volt outputs as well, which can be super useful for powering things like lights or whatever, right? So this thing will power, if you can plug it in here, this thing will power it. What can you get out of 99 watt hours? This is not only a budget, this is priced at $149 at the moment with SmallRig. So this is one of the cheapest V-mount batteries that is out there. But what will it do? Recently, I used this on a commercial shoot for my day job, and it powered a Panasonic S1H, which is a sizably big butt camera for the majority of the day. Didn't run out of juice. The camera was on for, I guess, 95% of the day. And without problem, this thing just kept it powered constant. And that was it. Another shoot, I had it on my Sony FX3. And again, similar thing, more or less all day power. And the camera was never really off. It's crazy that you can get an all-day shoot at this kind of price point of $149. It's nuts. Now, if you look at a lot of these Sony batteries, you're probably looking at about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops, depending on what you're shooting. Now, they do last, but these batteries can be quite expensive. And if you're dragging a lot of these around, it all adds up to be a lot more than this. The first time I bought one of these batteries was over €100, which was well over $100. So you can see the fact that you get all this bang for buck in one versus carrying a whole load of batteries around. And invariably, unless you're super disciplined, you can probably lose one of your camera batteries, and then you're not going to lose this in a hurry. Speaking of batteries, in the majority of cameras, you will need a battery in it. But here's the thing, if this was going like all day long into the evening and you started to run out, then one of these is going to be constantly charged anyway because it's in the camera. And then this will charge up in about the 2.5 hours. So you can kind of piggyback or tag team the two of these all day, all evening nearly into this, charge this up, back, boom, you're good to go. So it's really, really flexible when you're planning out your shoot. Now, that's not only the cameras that it's going to, power, right? And you do need USB-C, obviously, in your camera, or USB, whatever. As long as the USB cord can plug in here and you enable USB power in your camera, you're good to go. But it's not just, as I said, the cameras that this will power. This will power something like an iPhone 15 Pro 5.5 times. It'll do something like one of the SmallRig RC60B cob lights. It'll power that. 1.5 hours constant power. A MacBook, right? A MacBook 16 Pro, it will charge it once, right? So you get a full entire MacBook charge out of this, and that's the 16, so that's the big one. Something like an Atomos Ninja or any of those types of monitors, you'll charge it for like 7 hours. If you've got something like an iPad Pro, like the new 11-inch, it's going to charge that 2 times. So for all this bang for buck, you've got a lot of power options in this. And obviously, you don't have to run one at one time. You could power your camera, power your light, power your monitor, and you're good to go. Obviously, the more devices you're powering, the faster the charge will go down. But that's where it all comes in on the OLED screen here, that once you've got a cable plugged in, you can see exactly what's what. And because it's OLED, it's very, very clear, it's very bright, and you're left with no confusion over what's actually left in this and the amount of voltage everything is drawing. So you get a good idea of what's what. I think for the price of this thing, I can't fault it. Now, to be fair and to be honest, SmallRig did send me this, as I said earlier on. That's it. So if you want to review it, they have zero input. They're seeing this video at the same time that you're seeing it. And I gotta say, I absolutely love the idea of this, how it works, the size, the design, it's just faultless. Now, as I said, you have this kind of mounting option here with a 1/4-inch thread. If you do want to splurge some extra cash, you can put something like a V-mount battery plate onto your camera, which I have on my Sony FX3, and that just makes things maybe a little bit easier, that you don't need another tripod or you don't need to precariously balance it. Plus, let me tell you, if you turn up to a shoot or you're doing some video and you've got like a V-mount battery on the back on a plate, you look the part, and then put a matte box on the front of it and people think you're James Cameron. Either way though, this SmallRig V-mount battery, I'll not say any more about the name, but this 99 watt hour, the VB99 SE Mini, what's going on with these names? It's super useful. I know batteries aren't the most exciting thing in the world, but you do get excited when you are looking at your battery and your camera ticking down and you're like, I've got 5% left and I need another couple of hours, and all your other batteries are left at home. This will solve all of that. So I've left a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, this thing, SmallRig, really impressive. Size, price, power. If you want to kind of take the stress out of powering your gear, this is a no-brainer.